my friends. Welcome to Sort of Brilliant, a show where the characters are made up and Hogwarts house sorting absolutely does matter. My name is Rachel.
And I'm her best friend and co-host, Lauren. Every other week, we're going to invade a fandom and determine whether your favorite character belongs in Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, or Slytherin. There's bound to be some arguments along the way.
But in the end, we're always right.
Well, according to us.
According to us. Who's been sorting everyone? It's been Sawpod all along. Have fun getting that out of your head. Welcome back, everybody. How are you doing tonight, Lauren?
Pretty well. I was just jamming to your song that for legal reasons we don't own.
I know. I really wanted to put the actual music in. I haven't been able to get that song out of my head for a very long time now. But legalities.
You know who wrote that song?
No, who?
The Lopez is... Yeah? They're the people who wrote the Frozen music.
Really?
Yep.
Damn, they're good.
Yeah, and before, I mean, we've had the finale now, so we know that all the Mephisto stuff was a total red herring. But I actually read, like, they're really good at telling story through not even the lyrics, just the music.
Yeah.
And somebody pointed out that one chord, they put it in every song. They put it in Agatha all along. The do-do-do-do. And somebody pointed out that, like, that chord is called... it's got a fancy Latin, maybe Spanish sounding name, but basically what it translates to is like the devil's coming chord. So people were like, "Oh my God, they're telling us in the chord," which they did, but they told us as a lie. So,
well, you don't know. Is there going to be a season 2? It said the episode was called the series finale.
Yeah, they haven't confirmed it, and I don't see how they could because like the next part is Doctor Strange 2.
Right.
So.
But then, I mean, after that, they could always have a show centered around them. Like, they could revisit this.
I don't know.
Because I saw that it said the series finale, and I was like, okay, obviously the series is over. But then this whole show's been so meta and about it being a show within a show within a show.
Yeah. I mean,
I was like,
I know you're not a comics person, but her kids are part of the Young Avengers, which they're setting up with Haley Steinfeld. And so there might not be like room because they have to take her kids to be on the Young Avengers. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I've been in the House of M tag on Twitter, like trying to learn what's going on and what's coming because I have no idea.
Yeah. I loved learning their story. Rachel and I were talking about this before we started recording. We were like, there was nothing about how they got together in the movies, and she's right. Like I didn't even start shipping these two until the episode 8, when the whole episode with like how this happened and he bought her the house or whatever, and then I was like crying tears of like sorrow or whatever. Yeah, I was like bawling, but I was like, I didn't care about them before this, and now I do. So like that was the point of the show, that they were supposed to be like, hey, you know that one relationship you were all bitching about because literally none of it was on screen? Here you go.
Well, huge credit to them for doing such a great job because they did somehow make me care because I straight up did not. I saw the previews for it like everyone else, and I was like, why? Like, why do we need this? And they got me. Boy, they got me. It was really good. I liked it. I know that we wanted to record immediately after the finale, of course, because, hype.
It wasn't a last-minute decision?
Not at all. We planned very well. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. How'd you feel about it? How'd you feel about the finale?
How did I feel about the finale?
Mm-hmm. Do we want to give spoilers?
I mean, if you haven't watched it, this comes out Tuesday? It came out Friday. You had, I think spoilers are acceptable by Monday. Because this is a watch as you go show, right?
For sure.
And anybody who waited should have watched it over the weekend to see the entire thing. So.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. All right. So yeah, spoilers. Spoilers. If you haven't seen it and you want to, I guess, stop at this point. I like the finale. It was good. I saw some people say they were crying. It didn't make me cry because I kind of knew that what she did is what had to happen logically.
Right.
Like, and like, how many times can you watch Vision die before you're like, this doesn't mean anything anymore? Can't say the same for Dean Winchester, but yeah. I mean, I complained to Rachel about some stuff. Like, obviously, everybody was theorizing throughout this entire thing, and I was getting super excited about some like multiverse theories and what they were doing with the X-Men Fox universe. That it looks like they gave us a big nothing sandwich over. So that was extremely upsetting to me. But I guess we'll see what happens on Christmas time with Spider-Man. So, but yeah.
Yeah, that's true. The Quicksilver thing is the Pietro thing. Very disappointing. Just because I really wanted him to be him. I love him. I liked his Quicksilver way more than Marvel's Quicksilver. So,
have you seen?
No, my bad. Yes, no, I said that.
Yeah, you said that right. Yeah. Have you seen? Me. Did you see Days of Future Past? Is that the one he's in? Did you?
Yep.
Did you like him in that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I loved him in all of them.
People were doing funny like comparisons when he first showed up because like MCU Pietro was shot in the chest. Yes. And X-Men Fox's Pietro went in and saved like 15 people from a burning building. Everybody but one. But
yeah, that was a great scene. Ugh, I loved him. So I was like, please, please, please be him. Well, you know what? It might leave a door open. I know Lauren does not believe that. She's like, they shut it.
No, they made a boner joke. They made a fucking boner joke.
Yeah, but even
they would have to. That's the thing, though. Like, if I could maybe have hope that like the door is still open or whatever, but it doesn't. If they wanted to leave the door open, it should have remained ambiguous. They clearly said this man is a random citizen of fucking Westview, New Jersey, who is an aspiring actor. They would have to walk that back in order for them to do what we want them to do. And like, that's just so stupid. But then why would you? That's so stupid. Why would you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it just happens to be the guy's face from fucking X-Men, and they're just not going to do anything with it.
Because they closed the door. That's what they said. They were like, this isn't a universe thing at all. This is what the man is. It's awful if true. Is. Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, that's bad.
They made that whole Kick-Ass reference just to play with my dick.
They did. They did. Oof. No, they blue-balled everybody. But outside of that, I really enjoyed the show from start to finish. I thought it was really, really interesting. I loved the traveling to different TV shows because I loved all those shows. I was like, hell yeah. And we basically both knew immediately where we were going to put Wanda. Just real quick. Vision, though, we've had some fun conversations about Vision today. Some really good times. Hey, it's a conversation. It wasn't a fight.
It began with me telling Rachel how the show worked.
Yeah. To be fair, I'm not a huge Marvel person, not a huge comics person. So a lot of the times when they were talking about the logistics of things, of SWORD, of the DNA.
It's also pretty woo-woo, the thing that she missed. It's pretty like, woo! Like, you're like, all right, cut this bullshit. But it's true. Yeah. It's canon.
Well, who are we to argue with canon, right? But, yeah, there were some things I just did not pick up on, just did not fully get. I'm on Twitter like, explain this to me. And I sorted Vision based entirely on a misconception.
Yeah.
And I was so
last week she was singing Agatha All Along every day. And I was over here screaming about the Mind Stone. She ignored me as she usually does. Yeah. Hey Rachel.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a pop quiz for you.
Oh, okay.
All right. Which house internalizes their trauma so hard that they build their entire identity around it?
I don't know anyone like that. I've never met a single person or character like that.
You can't think of anybody?
Can't think of one.
Characters we really like that do that.
No.
People we know in reality who
live
their lives by this statement.
Nobody.
Who can't go to therapy?
You can go to therapy. It just won't help. It just won't help.
No.
All right. She's talking about Gryffindors. Fine. Okay, Gryffindors. But I was having this conversation with her before. I can only speak for myself, all right? And the fellow Gryffindors like me. But you put my ass in therapy and you absolve me of my guilt and you make me feel like I'm not at fault for anything.
How does
God help y'all.
That's not what therapy is for.
What's therapy for then, Mom?
It's to come to terms with the fact that you are guilty about this, and how do you live with that healthily?
That's not possible. They can't coexist. You just stuff it down. Like, stop. Like, I can't. It's cool for everyone else, and I highly recommend it for every single person on the planet. It's just not going to work for me. I can't, those two concepts can't coexist. I don't understand. She's like, Wanda's whole thing was coming to terms
Wanda's
with her
the
grief.
Gryffindor.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and she's like, this is a Gryffindor who's come to terms with her grief. What's the word you used? Processed it?
Process? Acceptance.
Sure.
The last. Yeah, I was like, this was supposed to be her stages of grief, where she comes to, like, acceptance at the end. She is like, Agatha's like, heroes don't do this, Wanda. And she was like, shit, she's right. And she fucking took the hex down and her family died, but she like was a good person in the end. And that was like acceptance of the grief. She realized that you have to accept that some people do not exist in your life anymore. And Rachel was like, yeah, but then she can just go back to anger to get them back. And I was like, you don't go backwards. That's the point of the steps.
Yes, of course. But there's the end scene with her kids screaming for her and she's becoming this all-powerful psycho. And you know she's going to go backwards. Fine, you want to call it backwards? I'll call it backwards. I don't see it that way. I feel like you live with that anger in a nice ball just right in your chest. And you can just stuff it in more. Rachel. Yeah, but if you don't acknowledge it, then it's like it's not there.
That's literally, yeah. And then I was like, this is literally how we got to this point with Wanda. Because she's been shoving it in this ball and not doing anything about it. And then she exploded it all over this fucking New Jersey town.
Yes, and because she got to say her goodbyes and she got to live through it and she realized her mistakes, she was fine with it. But she took that book and she's going to let her anger fuel her now. Maybe not grief, or maybe the grief has processed and turned into something else. She's not letting that go. Did she release Agatha? No. She's not letting shit go. Gryffindors don't.
Agatha wasn't a part of it.
But Agatha fucked with her.
Yeah. But
okay, did she leave her alone? She could have just zapped her powers out and just let her live like a human.
That's what she's doing.
No, she brainwashed her again.
Yeah.
She turned her into a character.
She's having her what? But like from her brain, she's like, do you want to live knowing that you don't have these powers and you could be a danger to people?
Sure, that's what she's thinking when she's doing it.
Yeah, that is what she's thinking. What do you mean that? Sure. Yes,
it's a punishment. It's a punishment. She's like, this is cruel. And she's like, oh, no, honey. It's not cruel. Goodbye. I'll leave you right where I need you when I have to come back with questions. Have fun. It's not a sweet mercy
fine, but
thing.
Agatha isn't a part of her grieving process, is what I was saying. Her cycle.
Okay, so she let all the innocent people go and she got rid of the pretend family because it was the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. The morally right thing to do with her Gryffindor ass, okay? Mm-hmm. If you think she didn't take all that trauma with her to that cabin, you're wrong. She took it. It's there.
I'm not saying your trauma disappears. Your trauma never disappears.
Mm-hmm. Neither does your anger over it. I'm sorry.
But it can actually if you go to therapy.
Did she go to therapy? Or did she snap her fingers and say, okay, human puppets, you can go now? Like, what? She processed nothing. I don't buy into that reading of the show at all.
No, I told you that I didn't agree with that.
I agree with you too.
Okay, but you were saying this is what Lauren said the show is supposed to be. Other people were trying to convince me that this bitch's ass has every single part of her husband separated and isn't going to try to put them together.
Yo, what's up with that? Like, why didn't he tell her? Did he really didn't tell her about White Vision? Like, okay, because again, there's several things. When we get into Vision, I'm going to tell you what I fucked up on. But did I fuck up on this? Did he tell her about White Vision? No, right?
Rachel, yes, she did. I texted you. I asked you how you missed this right before he disappeared.
Oh, good. Okay.
He went, can you please tell me what am I? And she said, you're the part of the Mind Stone that lives in me.
Yeah, I know that.
And then he tells her, there's someone out there with my body and my memories.
Oh.
And you really have to.
Yo, I checked out, bro. I checked out hard. I had my kid running around. I wasn't paying attention.
Rachel was like, emotion? Gross. She's not angry anymore. She was done.
So maybe that's what's fueling her forward. Maybe it's not the processing of grief and acceptance of her mistakes and forgiving herself and everything. Maybe it's that she knows there's another chance for her out there, and she's like, all right.
I don't think she forgives herself. Isn't that like a key tenet of like Gryffindorism?
No, she'll never forgive herself. Yeah. What I'm saying is, I'm just lumping all of this
that's like part of the paradox,
stuff
isn't
that
it?
You're telling me that we should do in therapy into one thing, and I'm saying like, okay, maybe she's on the path to acceptance.
That's part of the paradox, isn't it? Like the hero complex.
Yeah, we're the worst.
You're the only one who can save everybody else, but simultaneously, you are the only person in the world who can fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes complete sense to me. So what I'm saying is for her to even want to go on, then if she knows White Vision is out there, that's probably what's pushing her forward. She's probably like, all right, I'll bide my time and I'll get super powerful. And then I'm going to get all my shit back. And I let all the people go. Yay me! And did a good thing. That's my reading of it. As I learned more about the show through Lauren telling me what actually happened on it.
When we were talking about Vision, we actually did talk a little adjacently about Wanda. Because I have never felt like Wanda has considered herself part of the Avengers. Like she was a terrorist, basically, and she brainwashed all of them and was really awful to them, mean to them.
That's true.
And then her brother died when they switched over to their side, so I'm not quite sure. Like, she absolutely blames herself, but I'm also not totally sure that she doesn't also, like, fuck these Avenger guys. Like, the second that we switched over, my brother's dead.
Yeah.
And then right after that, they basically imprisoned her in the Avengers compound and wouldn't let her leave because she was trying to be a hero and she fucked up. And then she ran away with and then she ran away with Vision. Like, I literally never felt like she was a part of the Avengers. So she's always been doing her own thing.
She didn't. She was part of Pietro. She was part of
Pietro. Yeah.
So yeah, she definitely didn't feel like one of them. I mean, she was trained to think of them as enemies from Ultron. So
right.
And then with Pietro dying and Tony locking her up and all that, I don't think you ever can really feel like you're part of it, even though so much of that is because of her own fuck-ups. But would it really be a Gryffindor if they understood that and were just cool with it? She kind of, she doesn't really accept that they accept her as one of them,
Do they?
Why not? Why would you say they don't?
Earlier you were like, Tony fucking hated her.
He did, but I'm saying past that point.
No, here's what I think. I think they saw her as an extremely superpowered person, and the only way to have some sort of tab and control over that was to make her a part of the Avengers so that they could kind of train her into using her powers the way that they saw correctly. I don't really necessarily think they took her in as...
I think this is why I was never very attached to her character and never really as crazy powerful and cool as she was.
Right.
It was still like she was this outside thing. She came in with her brother. Her brother died. Right. Now she's a problem to them. And I do think by the end, of course, she's accepted into the group. I don't know if she feels it, though. I mean, how can she?
Okay, and then I guess that's where I was going with it. Like, that's still kind of my argument. I don't really know that she was accepted by the group as a member of the family that does or does not exist. I feel like she was accepted as a responsibility that they had to take on as the Avengers.
100% started that way, yeah. And I don't know, I guess
I don't think
it never got a chance to develop into something more with what happened after.
Well, I mean, she ran away with Vision, and then when the Avengers go back to get her, it's to save the Mind Stone, essentially, and save Vision or whatever. And then, like, I didn't even feel like when it was like Vision might have to die because the Mind Stone, and like we have to get it separated from him, blah blah blah, keep it safe or whatever. I don't even really feel like her feelings were taken into consideration. It was just Steve being like, none of our own dies.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I mean, look, she's getting back to sorting. That's what we do here. She's definitely a Gryffindor. I mean, you see it. You see it more in WandaVision than you could make arguments throughout the Marvel movies for it that she's in. But in WandaVision, it's really, it's heavily there. Mm-hmm. I didn't question that at all. I couldn't put her anywhere else. I feel like I say that in every episode.
About something.
I mean, that makes me, because you know what? That's how I know.
I'm thinking about the movies and like traumatic event after traumatic event and how she responds to it. And I'm like, you can't. Like, a Tony Stark bomb blows up her house, and then she joins an extreme Nazi terrorist group that's anti-freedom to go after Tony Stark.
And it's nothing to do with with politics. She's just like, I gotta get this guy. I gotta get revenge on this dude. That's what makes sense. You killed my parents. You're the problem. Your weapons did this. And she goes after his ass.
Right. And then they heroize her. Steve and Clint tag team her and convince her or whatever that she can be a hero. And then she blows up that man off the side of a building and destroys the entire city, and like that's a whole traumatic thing for her. Like, although in true Gryffindor paradox style, she's both deeply horrified by what she's done and insanely incensed that they have locked her up for it.
Yeah, that's the big one. That's a big one for me for that, because she feels guilt. She feels shame for sure. I'm not going to argue that she doesn't. You can see it in WandaVision. Like, you see, she's guilty. But she's also like, how fucking dare you keep me here?
She's got the audacity.
She has the audacity. That's the Gryffindor way.
She's upset that she did it, and then the Sokovia Accords come up, and she's like, the hell do you mean, Sokovia? Like, you're taking away Frida and blah, 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 blah. And, like, what do you mean I can't use my powers to blow up men in the sides of buildings? And she totally, it looks like unguiltily helps Clint shove Vision into that hole and walks out of the compound, so.
Yeah. And, I mean, she switches to when she really does fall in love with Vision and they go off together. People might argue with me, but I feel it was a really Gryffindor thing for her to do, to go off into hiding with him and to keep what was important to her safe.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
You know, it's not like okay, Gryffindors can be selfish, fine, but he's one of her own. He's all she has.
Well, it's all about you guys shifting your head, like, your morality, right? Like, your compass kind of points out at different things, depending on the time. So
she's never very concerned with the greater good, though. She's not that kind of Gryffindor.
No, that's I think that's one of the points I'm trying to make with never feeling like part of the family of the Avengers either, because she's like, she has no emotional or moral connection to what they're trying. Like, no, people do and this includes the Avengers, can get at her by going, "Don't you want to be a hero? This is what a hero does." And that does flip. Like, she wants to be what she considers a good, heroic person, and people can get her that way. But ultimately, she's like, I'm going off with Vision, or I'm leaving the Avengers compound, or I'm imprisoning this town full of people to keep them all safe. So. Right.
Well, I think maybe that might be the, I think if we were to get someone who argued with us, right, they would say, well, aren't Gryffindors all about the greater good and, like, sacrificing the one for the whole? Not always.
No.
Not always, especially not here, because she has so much trauma. So much to the point where I still feel so bad even just thinking about that episode. She can't care about other people. I mean, she can, all right? I'm not going to say she's like a robot. She, like, her boyfriend.
But, like, you can see it in, like, when all the people snap out of it and they're going after her. Like, I haven't seen my daughter. I haven't seen my son. I can't think for myself anymore. She's like, no, you're all fine. I'm keeping you safe. I'm not hurting you. It's fine. Like, she's clearly, like, convincing herself in the face of this that what she's doing is right, and she really believed that. I feel like we say it every episode that every single house is on the spectrum of good to bad people, and every single house has, like, every person has their own personality, and how that interacts with your house is going to be entirely different every night. I think we call, like, evil Gryffindors Griffassus or something, but, like... Griffassus, yeah. But, like, everybody... And I'm not calling Wanda a bad person. I don't think that she is, but she's not a... she's not, like, a soul pure... would Harry Potter be the best example of, like, a Gryffindor who is just, like, so dunked in, like, the... the greater good of humanity, like, blah, 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 yeah, so...
self-sacrificing, yes.
And I could, you could call Albus Dumbledore somebody who took that and turned it bad, which I kind of think is how Wanda has gone. No, because she would never really cared about the greater good. She's just a middling person. Right. She just is a person with a personality, and she loves some people, and her morality points towards being good in the moment, I think, is what
you have to remember. You have to remember about Gryffindors. So much of it has to do with childhood and the way that you're raised. Okay? So a lot of the Gryffindors we've talked about, you've got, like, Dean Winchester, you've got Tony Stark. The way that they come up, that really frames their morality. So, like, you just take Dean, Supernatural, for example. He's raised, 1, look after Sammy, 2, hunt and keep people protected, right? What's Wanda raised with? Her parents are gone. They've been murdered. She grows up in wartime, and her brother's really it. She's not trained to look at the world and say, okay, save everybody. Everybody matters. It's Pietro. Yeah. That's all she's got. So her focus is always going to be on the most important person in front of her, whether it's her kids, real or not, her boyfriend, real or not. Like, that's what's in front of her. That's what matters. And it is very Gryffindor. It doesn't have to be that you throw yourself on the bomb to save the world. Like, it's not always that at all.
I think Gryffindor is, like, to that point, too, because Dean Winchester is the type of person that was like, I have to save the entire world as well. They also, like, take what they're good at, right? And their resources.
Yeah.
So Dean was really good at hunting. That is something that he could do. It's the only thing that he thought he could do. So it's what he did. Wanda, I mean, they joined a terrorist organization, but, like, what could she do in war-torn Sokovia as a 9-year-old little girl that was pulled out of the rubble with her brother? And, like, I think that not all Gryffindors are going to be the greater good type Gryffindor. They're going to be the good in the moment type Gryffindor. They're not concerned with the bigger picture. They're concerned with making it through minute by minute, doing, I'll quote, even though she's not a Gryffindor, Anna from Frozen, the next right thing is what. It's
very Ron Weasley, isn't it?
Who knows Ron Weasley the best?
Oh, no. We don't talk about that. I don't think like that. I don't think that way.
Okay.
She likes to call me Ron Weasley. I'm not anything like Ron. Never related to him in my life. Except I like food like him. That's it. Okay.
And
I don't even like my mom,
your favorite
Lauren.
Part of your personality.
What?
Anger's like your most favorite part of your personality.
So? Ron's favorite part of his personality is being an idiot.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Alrighty.
No, I've got Ron's laziness, definitely, and like, I don't want to do my homework.
I can't even remember the extremely good connections and arguments that I have anymore because it's so ingrained
You don't have any.
in her. No, I've made them, and she gets very extremely mad about them.
I do.
But
I relate way more to Harry in my brain, and more to Sirius Black than anyone.
All right, well, I've never said anything about Sirius,
good.
but I think you are very Ron Weasley.
That's gross and awful. And I love Ron, but no.
I feel like Ron felt a real connection to Sirius, so I don't.
Okay. Okay. Sure. That means nothing. So did Harry.
She's doing that face she does when she's like, "You're right," but how do I say words?
I'm not.
Wrong?
I genuinely don't agree with you. I genuinely don't. She's been able to convince me of a lot of things. You're not getting me on this one.
I've convinced
I
you
don't
of
see
this in some moments.
Because I share aspects of a lot of Gryffindor personality traits.
All right, we're getting off topic.
Fine. But why don't we talk about me for an hour?
Oh my god. Another thing I was thinking about Wanda is she did it. She did the thing. She did the I'm the best person in the world, but I don't want this power.
Yes.
She did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. She. I don't think she really ever did it before she knew about the chaos magic. Maybe a little bit. She was kind of. She's probably.
I think so.
Yeah, I think she's always been like, I just want to be normal. But she, especially in this finale too, was like, take it, like throwing it at Agatha. Like, I don't.
Well, that was a fake out.
Yeah,
that was a fake out.
I think she also really feels that way somewhat. Like if she could have had all her power taken and just lived with Vision and her kids, and yeah, she would have been fine. So
huge Gryffindor thing right there. Don't want it. You got it. You don't want it. Leave me alone.
I hate responsibility.
I didn't ask to be this person. Yeah, she doesn't want it. I mean, hell yeah, she'd trade it all. I mean, right now, I think she's a really interesting kind of Gryffindor when you see them come into their own and really like harness all of that power and start to better themselves in whatever way. I mean, it's just an after credits scene with her in that cabin, like studying the spell book. But that locked me into interest in her growing because I'm like, oh, she's coming into some shit.
The final 2 seconds of the show locked you in.
It did. It did. It really did. I wasn't that invested. I'm sorry. Like, by the end of it all, yeah, I care. But look, like, Tony and Thor are my favorites, and I'm hugely invested in their entire storylines. With Wanda, it's like, yeah, I want to know what's going to happen. But when I saw her in the outfit, and when I saw her kick Agatha's ass, and then I saw her in that outfit at the end with the spellbook, I was like, oh, hell yeah. I can't wait to see what you're going to do. I don't know if you felt the same.
She was really fucking hot.
Oh, yeah.
That's about what I felt about it.
That outfit was incredible. It really was. That's one of the better superhero outfits.
Yeah, I would wear that.
I'm going to do the, bring up the Hannah thing. It's red. Aha. It's dark red, but it's red. Gryffindor. I'm kidding. I'm completely kidding.
It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I
was waiting for you to say Soulstone.
That's red. Which one's red?
You know it's not, right? Oh my god, it's the Reality Stone.
Yeah, okay. I'll remember that. The stones and fractions and lots of things I can't remember and figure out.
Stones
it's okay.
Are not that hard. They're the colors of the rainbow.
They are. They are hard because there are too many colors going on in the movie, and I can't. They all get put on one gauntlet.
Yeah.
And I can't keep track of them. Again, except the green one. Because I love green. That's it.
Benedict Cumberbatch owns it.
I can't believe he didn't come. Anyway, I'm not going to complain about the show. So, Wanda. Very clear Gryffindor, right?
Yeah.
Did you think maybe she could go anywhere else as you were watching? No, so immediate Gryffindor.
Yep.
We're pretty obvious.
You're not quiet.
No.
It's hard to be quiet with audacity.
That's true. She's
got a lot of fucking audacity. You know what? And you know somebody has audacity when the entire fandom won't shut the fuck up about it.
That's true. Yeah. What has been people's perception that you've seen of her?
You haven't seen this?
People wanted her to apologize and...
How dare she do that to Tony and think she deserves forgiveness? She's just a whiny baby and she never said sorry for anything. And I'm not making fun of people. I do agree on some level. I'm just shouting in the fandom Twitter manner. She never apologized for anything, and she just uses her trauma as an excuse that she never has to apologize, and this is the way things are. And Tony had trauma too, but nobody excuses him.
See, now that's starting to piss me off because her trauma's fucking intense, okay? And I love Tony, but he didn't grow up like that. Okay, so maybe we can be a little understanding of her audacity.
He was abused by his dad, and then his parents died, and then...
I know that, but he didn't grow up in war-torn Sokovia with her dead parents being blown off a couch in front of her, all of a sudden having these witchy goddamn spells with her brother who then dies.
I think it stems from the fact that by the point that she meets Tony, Tony has severe and serious PTSD.
Of course, it's bad. It's real bad.
Extremely exploits that. Like, that's what she does.
No. She's terrible to him, just like him building those war bombs were terrible to other people. So, Gryffindors be doing some bad shit sometimes. Don't put any Gryffindor on a pedestal.
Do we want to get it? Because he didn't build. That would have been his father.
Sure. Of course. But he supported it for a long time. I'm not in the business of absolving the characters I love of anything. No one gets a pass except Dean Winchester.
I'm not. I have no horse in this race, so I don't know why I have an urge to argue with you, except...
Go for it.
No, I don't want to.
Really?
No, I don't.
That's rare.
Shut up. Literally no horse in this race. I don't think either person is right. I don't think anybody should use their trauma as an excuse to do bad things to bad people. But this is the yelling that occurs.
But is she using her trauma as an excuse? Does she run around saying, I grew up this way and that's why I'm such a bad person? Or does she just internalize everything and just simply not give a fuck?
Well, I mean, she never apologizes for any of the bad things that she does, I think is the argument being made. Which can come off as, I'm allowed to do this because my life sucks.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I mean,
don't think the absence of an apology means that you think you're above it. I just think maybe it didn't occur to her to do that. And she is so weighed down by her trauma. But I will say that here in this last episode, she did apologize to the people. She did clearly feel like shit. And she let them go. I mean, what is she going to do? What the hell can she do now? It's so far past the point. She's fucked up so bad. And she's been so fucked up. It's like, no, you can't excuse it. You definitely can't excuse it.
I felt a little bit of it actually at the end when Monica was like, nobody here is going to know what you sacrificed for them. And she was like, it won't change their perception of me. I was like... You can still say, I'm really sorry.
You know, I don't know. I really don't have a horse in this race either, but I just kind of like, I get her. I get her.
Yeah, you know what? It's a fucking pride thing is what it is.
Yeah, it is.
Didn't my actions apologize for what I did? Some people like to fucking hear you Get down on their level and acknowledge what it is you've done.
I know. But what was she supposed to do? Go around to each of them and give them a fucking basket? Like, she ruined their lives for a while.
She did. And no, I don't really have a huge horse in this. I can just see the point, and I think it speaks to her being a Gryffindor, that she does not really, she kind of skips along to the next thing, considering the fact that she's not doing the bad thing anymore as enough apology.
Yeah. But what Gryffindor comes out with an apology? Their actions are the apology. I mean, really think about it. I'm thinking about Emma. I'm thinking about Tony.
I'm saying that this speaks to her being a Gryffindor, but I'm also saying it makes her kind of a shitty person a little bit sometimes.
It does. It does. But I'm building on what you said because I'm agreeing with you, and I'm saying that's a really common Gryffindor trait. We don't get a lot of on your knees apologies, begging. It's more like, I will do this for you now, and appreciate it, or don't hate me. I deserve to also be hated. That's fine. I'll make it right. I don't want to say the words. So walk away. If Wanda had just fucking walked away in this show many times, people would have been a lot happier. That's all I'm saying.
She did.
Who needs therapy?
She did that
walk
a lot.
Away.
She did that a lot. When she used her powers to, like, rewind shit or whatever, that was her version of walking away.
That was her walking away.
She's like, this reality ain't working for me. She got rid of it.
That's literally her stuffing it deeper and deeper and deeper.
This man popping up from the vent. Nah, as a beekeeper now, and we're gonna reverse that shit.
Yo, that was so funny. She was just like, you're just watching. You're like, wait, what? Did they cut this weird? Like, what's going on? She's just like, oops, didn't happen. What? She did not want to deal. Big Gryffindor.
Do you wanna explain your vision problem?
Okay. So now that we've established that I don't pay fucking attention to anything unless it's like an emotional relationship I'm invested in, okay? That's what I like in my fiction and my media. I wasn't paying that close attention to the stone lore.
I want some simple tropes.
I do be liking the
none of this stuff. Faux science shit.
Dude, you start throwing that shit at me. When Bruce and Tony talk about it, I'm like, shut up. I hate it. So I never followed that very well. And it's whatever. I respect it. They've made some great movies. And even down to this, after Lauren explained it to me, it makes a lot of sense. Okay. But the way they explained it, I didn't really pick up on the nuances of it. So to my understanding, when I saw the Mind Stone shit with her when she was in that facility, and I was like, oh, all right, Mind Stone's in her. They used Wanda's powers to create white vision. So I was like, oh, if they used Wanda's powers to create white vision, then some aspect, science of the Mind Stone went into white vision.
Transitive property.
Words, yes. So I thought this was vision versus vision.
Can you explain to me something with your logic?
Yeah.
Okay, so what you're thinking is that the stone went inside of her, and then she took some of the stone and made her vision, and then some of it was in her magic and went into the other vision?
Yes.
What did you think was in the actual Vision's head before he died?
Which one are you fucking talking about now? The real OG?
The OG Vision. What did you think?
The Mind Stone. The actual Mind Stone.
So then what was in her?
Some fucking aspect of it. You see what I'm saying? I'm not following. Some astral...
yours makes less sense than Disney's bullshit science.
All right. Well, I can't follow it, okay? So I just assumed, all right, she's got stones in her. She's got the red one. She's got the orange one. They're both in there. They're mixing around in this fucking fog. And when they harnessed it, they put it in white vision. He's got some Mind Stone in him. So that's vision.
But not the orange
Holy
one
shit.
somehow.
Yeah, I just thought he had a little orange in him, to be real. If you really want me to get into the small details, it's just a little, as a treat, a little Mind Stone as a treat. And I was like, okay.
But you mean reality.
Yeah, but I know. Okay, so listen. In hindsight, because they used her hex to create him, I should have seen there's only red there. Mm-hmm. So the orange isn't being used.
Correct.
But they spent the whole fucking episode telling you that the Mind Stone was in her. And then, now we have her powers and we can put them in this vision. So, of course, I'm going to think it has something to do with the Mind Stone. Apparently it didn't. I'm still in shock. So
then Lauren explained to Rachel that this episode is about how the Mind Stone enhanced Wanda's natural powers and that none of it is actually inside of her. Because Agatha says the Mind Stone saved what would have died on the vine, something fancy.
But it is in her. She used it to create Vision.
But it's only in her because of Vision.
So
it wasn't...
It's still there.
But it wasn't in her power.
But it was enough to create Vision.
Right, but your transitive property depends on the soul or the Mind Stone being like mixed up in her power like a smoothie somehow, and she shoots it out of her hands.
I'm not a scientist, Lauren. Okay. I'm sorry.
I'm just telling you that the Mind Stone only exists inside of her because Vision now embodies the Mind Stone, and she apparently loves him so much that she holds that part of him inside of her.
Oh, it's love. Yeah. That's it. That's more scientific than what I was fucking saying, sure.
But I didn't say it was. I just said it's more convoluted than what Disney tried to do.
Okay, but so that was my understanding, right? Just follow along with my wrong thread here. Mm-hmm. So you've got White Vision. Mm-hmm. He's the real Vision now. He's got some Mind Stone in him, transitive property. Wow. Mm-hmm. And then you've got Red Vision, who definitely has some Mind Stone in him, right? So I'm like, this is Vision versus Vision. They're fighting. And then he starts pulling philosophy out of his asshole. And he's like, listen, do you think that if a tree falls in the forest and you cut it and a new tree grows, is it the same tree? And they're like, yes. And they're having this fucking, oh God, it's so annoying. They're having this like battle of the wits here where they're just explaining this philosophy to each other. And this is what convinces White Vision to be like, you're right. And let him absorb the emotional memories. And that's what pretty much derails him, right? And I went, that's a fucking Ravenclaw. Because Ravenclaws, it's really hard to talk a Ravenclaw into your position. It's really hard. You ever fought with one? You ever fought with a Ravenclaw? Lauren?
Yes.
You have fun?
No,
it's not easy, myself. Right? So I'm looking at it like this is the same person fighting with each other. This is Vision versus Vision. Only a Ravenclaw is going to listen to themselves and know how to disarm themselves so well, especially with this emotional aspect, because emotion kind of fucks Ravenclaws up a little bit, right? If they can't logic their way out of something or find it. They're amazingly brained people, okay? That's new vocabulary for you. But they are not easy to argue with.
Diplomatic
so I was
Rachel
like,
I said diplomatic Rachel coming in.
For sure. So I was like, all right, this is clearly a Ravenclaw talking themselves out of this situation and then injecting emotion into them to disarm, right? And derail. Yeah. And I got all excited and I told Lauren, I was like, only a fucking Ravenclaw. And she's like, are you seriously coming to me and telling me the robot out-computered a robot and that's why you think he's a Ravenclaw? And I'm like, no, it's because I really feel that only a Ravenclaw could listen to themselves and talk themselves out of this shit. They're not going to listen to anyone else. They don't. Okay, it takes a lot. It takes emotions. So that was my argument. And then she drops this bomb on me that I didn't see in the show. I wasn't getting it. The show told us, but not well enough for me. And I'm sure everyone listening to this is like, how did you not get that? Shut up. I didn't get it.
But think about all the people we're also probably educating. There's got to be
We're not, Lauren. Everyone understood it but me. Everyone understood it but me. All of you fuckers out there understand how to do fractions and basic math and all the shit I can't do, drive on highways. And you understand the stones and I don't. Whatever. You're not better than me. So anyway, Lauren explained it. And now I get it. It's not Vision versus Vision. It's like Vision versus CPU. And he just outsmarted the computer. So that was the basis of my sort, and everything unraveled from there. Because I went from that fight and I worked backwards, and I was like, yes, his system is Wanda and family. Yes, he follows a system. Interesting. It all started to fit for me, and then Lauren was like, no, because that's not Vision. And I was like, fuck, dude, I spent the whole day thinking this guy's a Ravenclaw. But really, I was describing a Hufflepuff the whole time.
We got another one, folks.
I'm gonna rip my face off.
I was like, what system are you talking about? And then she
Family
would describe a Hufflepuff to me and go, that system. And I was like, a Hufflepuff? And she was like, no, a Ravenclaw, but one who acts like this. And I was like...
It just made so much sense coming from where I started the argument. If you've got a basis for something and you build arguments on top of it, it's a lot easier to logic your way through it, okay? So, turns out, he's a huge-ass Hufflepuff. But unlike Lauren, I can be convinced and I can have a normal conversation and not fucking kill someone. Yeah, because you have a very bad temper and you need to get that checked out.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, you need to, like, find your chill and get zen like me.
Okay.
Relax.
Rachel watched this before I was able to watch it. She watched it right before me. And she was like, oh my God, there was a huge sorting moment and I want to talk to you about it. She was like, point it out to me if you see it. And I was like, okay. So I'm watching the show and I see this whole ship of Theseus thing. That's what she was talking about when she was talking about philosophical bullshit.
The tree.
It was the ship of Theseus, which is, if the ship starts falling apart and you replace it plank by plank, is it still the original ship? Also the same question, if you just like clear the rot and renew the ship, is it still the same ship? It's basically a soul question, which is what Vision has been the entire time. Can a computer have a fucking soul? And like that, and also the question of identity, like what does identity belong to? Does it belong with the soul or does it belong with the body of the thing? So he was being like, am I Vision? Because I don't have Vision's body. Or are you Vision? Because you have Vision's body. And then he was also like, and you know what the body of a computer contains? Memory. Can I touch your head? And then he touched his head and he like made the memory come back. And Rachel also thought Hex Vision was funneling this memory into White Vision. But
I did.
Hex Vision never had these memories. Darcy had to tell him everything. He just made the memory of the computer work again so that it remembered everything.
That is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. They played actual fucking clips from the movies. Are you kidding me? He created that. He generated them.
That was the
He generated them.
You have to have some understanding of what Vision is too, right? He's a computer / Jarvis / synthetic humanoid or whatever.
Hold up.
What?
Hold on.
What?
She created him. Why aren't the memories just there? Wanda created them. She experienced the memories. Why aren't they in him?
I don't think she wanted him to know them.
Okay, but at some point, maybe he should have had access to them and be able to unlock them himself. Darcy was not with them when they were in the kitchen fucking making out in, like, privately in what he remembered. She can't...
But Wanda didn't need him to have... I told you this before this started. Wanda, the vision that she made was based off of her vision. Like, she holds his soul and, like, in her feelings of him. I told Rachel, it's like a much more, like, woo way of saying that you're keeping somebody's memory alive, except Vision is a magic stone and Wanda's a witch, so she actually quite literally keeps his memory alive inside of her in the form of the soul stone, or mind stone. You've got me saying soul stone out, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Mind stone energy.
It's red.
But yeah, so like the vision that she made, like, because he still like clearly loves her and has all these feelings for her without the memories. So that's what she did. She put
he can just recreate the movies in his brain.
Right.
Get
and
the
then
fuck
he'll
out
be
of
okay,
here.
right? No,
get the fuck out of here.
Can't what are you talking about? He never.
They're the same clips.
What?
From the movies.
That
he implants the same fucking scenes.
He did not implant them. What are you not understanding about this? Rachel, Vision...
He touched...
Shut up. Vision, the thing that they rebuilt is a synthetic computer humanoid. Yes. Right.
Okay.
So his brain is not a brain.
Right.
It's a bunch of chips and circuits.
He downloaded data.
A hard drive. He did not download anything. He made the memory bank work again.
So White Vision just had those memories?
They were stored in his computer memory bank, and Hex Vision was just like, he literally says...
How in the fuck did White Vision have them?
Because it's his body. It's Old Vision's body.
You just...
Listen, if you...
That's not how bodies work. Okay.
He's not a real person. He's a computer. What do you not understand about this? It's like if your computer dies and you bring it to Best Buy and the Geek Squad assholes, if they take out the memory card and they put it in another computer, the computer has a new body, but it's the same fucking memory. But they just kept the memory with the body and they reanimated the body, except he didn't have any...
Well, what? Why didn't they wipe it?
They didn't know what the fuck they were doing. They took like 6 years to put the body back together and then they couldn't figure out how to power it.
That's crazy, dude. I don't like that at all.
You understand what's happening now, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's so stupid.
But anyway...
Downloaded fucking memories.
This Ship of Theseus conversation happened, and it's quite literally a basis for one of the things I like to say about Hufflepuffs for when they're shifting communities. They have a house built in the community, and they take it down piece by piece, and they rebuild it within the next community that they want to go to. That's literally how they move around. And Ship of Theseus is almost a little bit in, how I think about it and has inspired that or whatever. So I text Rachel and go, "This is the most Hufflepuff effing thing I've ever seen in my entire life." And I said, "No, I'm watching WandaVision." And then she said, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And I said, "Vision." She said the most Hufflepuff thing ever. And she said, "You mean the Ravenclaw?" And I go,
I stood by it too. I was like, dude,
for a really long time.
He fought himself.
It took a really long time for me to figure, well, I almost knew right away that she was not understanding what I was saying to her, but it took a really long time for us to both get to that point.
You know what? If you were just nice and you were like, I think
if you were
just nice about it. Yeah, because you're not. Nice. You're like, you do this thing. I wasn't mean at all.
I said 6 times, "What are you talking about?" And then
you'd be a great teacher because you have the condescending head pat down. No, not quite. Not quite. And you just say no. And then you go on 4 paragraphs and I'm like, this is a lot of science and I'm not retaining what you're saying. And I think you're arguing with me, so I'm not receptive to it. So you have to just come in and be like, dude, I think maybe you missed this part. Here, I'll explain it to you. Just be nice. Just be nice. I would have got a lot. You just explain like I'm 5.
This is a falsehood. One of the first things I said was he was not arguing with himself. He was fighting a computer, and she got really upset by that notion.
I didn't get upset. I was just like, no, he wasn't. What are you talking about?
I got multiple paragraphs about the fact that he was fighting with himself. And I said again, that's not vision, that's a computer. And you were just not having that fact in your life.
Because his body, it did not make sense.
She was rejecting that reality is what was happening. She said no.
I said, I'm rejecting that reality so that I can put him in Ravenclaw. We don't have enough on the show. I need this to work, Lauren. Yeah, no, he's not, though. He's really not. He's such a simp. He's not a Ravenclaw.
Huge simp. She's trying to explain to me, she's like, his system is Wanda. And I was like, how?
Family.
Well, his only family's Wanda. So she's
Correct.
Like, his system's Wanda. And it took 6 years of me saying, so you mean he's modeling Wanda? No, he's not. And her going, no, to finally circle back around to, yes, he's modeling Wanda.
Yeah, because you just wouldn't shut up about it. And I'm like, who cares? What I'm saying is he's got this system that is his truth, right? Okay, turns out it's not a system. He's just a fucking simp. Okay? He's an AI simp.
Wanda is his community.
Yes. He wasn't enough of a full-fledged character, really. He went from Tony to Wanda, and to me, it wasn't like moving from one to another. It was just an organic relationship that developed. So I wasn't looking at it as community.
I mean, you're extremely right, and it comes back to this issue of the movies doing shit all to develop, especially these characters, but almost every character's familial trait. Like, none of them really have the only reason we could put Thor in Hufflepuff so easily is because of the Asgardians. Like,
oh yeah.
Like it's not like the Avengers gave us much cause to be like, oh yeah, Thor was a huge part of the Avengers community. But that's like, and that's the thing too. We have mentioned this before with Thor, with Cass. Hufflepuffs seem to attract the outer worldly types, the types that are created or brought up to be one thing and for themselves discover, because they discover themselves that they want to belong to another thing. And the movies do this with Vision extremely shoddily and fast, and I don't think show us a lot of it, but I do see him being created as a body for Ultron, and then obviously Tony and Bruce and the other scientist lady whose names escaped me, and Jarvis. So he was created quite literally as a tool, which we also know was was Cass's whole hang up. But he was created as a tool, and then the Avengers took him and said, no, you're not going to be the Ultron body. You're going to be a cool-ass Avenger because you've got that Mind Stone in your brain, and we also need to take responsibility for this because we've created this. So you're going to be a part of the Avengers. And he does, like, he keeps Wanda prisoner because they told him that was the best thing to do, whatever. And he does come to an understanding of himself and who he wants to be. The show showed us that flashback of him talking to Wanda about grief, which had to have happened between Age of Ultron and Civil War. So I do think in an extremely limited and not shown to us sense, he did move from the community of wanting to be a part of the Avengers, or at least being told he was a part of the Avengers in the sense that he was told, to choosing Wanda as his community and the one that he actually wants to be a part of and to make a life with. He bought her he went into a New Jersey realtor's office and bought
they went together. Their names were both
land. She didn't go. She didn't know about it.
Was that implied that she didn't know? That's really sad. I thought they went together because both their names were on it.
Handed.
I didn't watch this show.
You didn't understand. That's why I cried. That's why she cried. Oh. That's why it was grief. She didn't know about it. She got handed this deed.
I thought she knew when she went.
She got handed this deed to a house with a heart circled around the plot of land that said, for our future together or whatever?
Yes.
And then she went there and saw it for the first time.
No, I know all that. I know all that. I understood that completely. I just thought it's something that they decided together. Why would she have lost
her goddamn shit if
because she went to the place they were going to start their fucking home. What do you mean? That's awful.
No, it's worse because she didn't know about it. He wanted to build a life for her with her.
That's way worse.
Yeah. Are you understanding a little better now? What's going on here?
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I should watch the show. I don't know. I just saw GIFs on Twitter. No, I fucking watched it. I just had a different perception of what was going on than the rest of you.
Rachel creates her own show that's much better.
I do. All right. Well.
God damn it, I was going to say something poignant.
It was so funny when you made the Cass and Dean comparison. I was like, oh no, it's literally them. Oh no, it's the same fucking thing. Oh shit, you're right. It was literally like a Cass and Dean thing. So much. Sorry, I'm talking about Supernatural again. It's how I see the world. It's the lens I see the world
It's
through.
Really fucking sad. This is what our worlds are. I was going to say something about the deed or whatever. What was I saying? Okay. He walked into a realtor's office.
A New Jersey office.
What was I saying before that?
I don't know.
Where was this going?
I don't know. How does it make him a Hufflepuff?
He chose this community for himself. Like he chose her. That's what he was doing. He picked her. He was going to live with her forever. Yeah.
They be loving hard. Them Hufflepuffs, they really do.
We should probably talk about the literal only thing the movies did give us, which was her killing him, right?
Yeah.
That was a pretty hard Hufflepuff Gryffindor dynamic.
That's fucking horrible. That was horrible to watch, dude. I didn't care about them at all, and I was like, oh my god, don't make them do this. This is so bad. Yeah, but they had to do it. They knew it was for they had to save the world.
Yeah,
and they did it, which was very, very Gryffindor.
I mean, they didn't.
Both of them.
That didn't save the world.
Well, it's not their fault. They made the effort. Okay,
Vision died for nothing, but
that's true. Twice. Ow. Oh, you took everything. I don't even know who you are. You will. No, he won't.
No, he's dead.
Man, poor Wanda.
It is poor Wanda.
Yeah, I do. I feel really bad for her. But yes, he very much was like, he saw the writing on the wall in the movie and he just went, just kill me. Like, it doesn't make any sense to keep me here. And she's like, absolutely not. We will find another way. No other way exists. But you're not telling a Gryffindor that. Right? They don't want this to happen, so it's not going to happen.
He had the house for her at the point that he was saying, kill me.
That's mad tragic.
You know what else people realized? You remember the first episode was all like the whole, like, what does the heart mean on the calendar?
Yeah.
Because they were like, is it our anniversary? Is it dinner? Like, why did we put a heart on the calendar? It was the heart on the deed!
That's really sad. Wow, ouch.
Yeah.
Dude.
It's a very tragic show.
Oh, it's bad.
Yeah.
I feel very bad for the both of them.
Yeah.
I hope she shoves that soul right into White Vision's body and gives him a red color again, because I can't with that. Can't with all that white shit.
You don't like the white either?
It looked ridiculous.
Okay, good. I hated
dumped
it.
him in white paint.
I was watching with a group of women tonight, and one of them said White Vision is super hunky and like better than the red one. And I was like,
excuse me?
He looks terrifying. Like, he doesn't look human. The red one at least looks a little like you can see the facial expressions.
The red one, I mean, is kind of weird too. Fine, I'm not saying it looks good.
I wouldn't fuck
but the
it,
white one? Yeah. That, not into that at all. I can't believe someone actually said that. Now I'm going to look this up, how people feel about it.
Do people think White Vision's hot?
Well, because there's people out there who want to fuck Mr. Clean, so I don't know what to tell the world.
That's true.
But I thought he was really creepy. It just looked like you took the paint tool and clicked it all white.
Yeah,
it was weird.
Yeah, you're right. If you took the Mind Stone and the soul part of Vision from Vision, I'll go Ravenclaw with you.
Yeah, right? I think it's that he's in the same boat that I was, that you just don't really understand this character. There's not a lot of character depth to him as far as the movies go.
No, and it is hard with the show because, like you said, you were like, where's the actual Vision on this show?
Right.
And he's literally split into parts. Like, this part's over here and that part's over there. Like, you're right. Yeah. So a lot of it is like putting it together through like context, and like I don't even know if this is like some religious bullshit or some philosophical bullshit, but I'll take people's souls over anything else mostly. So I was paying part of that, paying attention to that part of him, and especially since like I've said repeatedly, that part of him was the part that Wanda understood. So and I feel like she knew him very well. So
yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, unless you use that context though, and you really look at it, you look at it that way. He's tough. They don't give you a lot, and then even on this show, he's not even himself. He doesn't even know who he is for so much of the time, and it's just like, where the fuck do I put you? I told Lauren for like weeks when we were watching the show, I clocked Wanda immediately, but Vision, I was like, dude, I don't know where to put him. I don't even understand him at all. So when did you come to Hufflepuff Vision?
I don't know. I was gonna say he did pick up Mjolnir, which is, anybody could do it, but I think a Hufflepuff would be most likely to do it. A Hufflepuff is most likely.
Slytherin did too.
Don't even talk to me.
He did it. Steve Rogers did it. You gotta give it to him.
I know he fucking did. He was worthy. It's fun. You know what? Slytherins are closest to Hufflepuffs, and I think
so close.
And I think the area of the spectrum that the fucking hammer cares about.
Probably.
So, and I'm not going to get into the philosophical rulings of the fucking Norse hammer. Just take my word for it.
Probably shouldn't.
Take my word for it. Slytherins and Hufflepuffs are closest in the area that the hammer cares about. But but anybody could pick up the hammer. But I feel like him being worthy is something that a Hufflepuff can easily come to. I don't know when I think it was, we have compared them to Dean and Cass before.
Yeah.
I don't remember if it was a week or 2 weeks ago where I said something about it being like, because we were talking about how Hufflepuffs are these outer worldly, like, robot-type creatures that need to learn feelings from other people.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. It's a very special subset of Hufflepuffs that you run into a lot on media because it's a fun trope.
That's true.
Yeah. But and then I just, and I thought about it in that context, and I was like, and then I started, like, watching the show, and then there was the whole episode 8 where it was all Vision's emotions being a simp.
No, but I agree with you. She compared them to Dean and Cass because we're Destiel trash. And that quote, what is grief if not love, perseverance?
Yes.
Or what is love if not grief?
No, yeah. What is love if not grief, perseverance?
It was good.
The one that Twitter went fucking crazy for. And some people were like, this was the best line ever written in the entire world. And some people were like, the fuck are you talking about? That's so trash. And then there was a huge thing over it.
It's not Shakespeare.
There was a whole thing over it that didn't matter because if people like a quote, let them like the quote. And if you think it's trash, keep that on your own timeline. Whatever. So But anyway, yeah, what is grief if not love persevering? And Supernatural ends with Cass killing himself because he loves Dean, and Dean crying in grief, and Dean never explicitly reciprocates the love, but he does sit on the floor of his house and cry for 6 hours after Castiel dies, saying he loved him. So that line spoke to me in a way. Don't know how, but it did as a Destiel shipper. So, yeah. So that's probably where I started, like, and it's funny because the context of that quote doesn't even, like, the context that it's set in wouldn't be Dean speaking to Cass, because Vision's talking about the person who has died. So if you put it in the Dean Cass context, it would have to be Sam speaking to Dean about Cass dying.
That's true.
So yeah. So like that didn't even influence me really. I just started getting on the track of thinking of Vision as something similar to Cass. And then like when you're looking at Vision's motivations, honest to God, it's Wanda. So what does that give him? It gives him Slytherin or Hufflepuff, mainly as like the easy ones. You could go deeper into it, and some Gryffindors and some Ravenclaws could be like focused on a person. But like on the easy surface level, if you're like, this person's thing is just one other person, you're like automatically going to be like, all right, let's start exploring the Slytherin and Hufflepuff possibilities here. And man's not a Slytherin, so I started looking at Hufflepuff, and it made a lot of sense to me.
So that's where we landed on them. And as always, if you agree, let us know. Come hang out with us on Twitter. If you disagree, let us know. Come hang out with us on Twitter and Instagram. We SOB_pod. Please rate us. I'm begging, guys. I'm down on my knees. Yeah.
I don't get on my knees. Slytherins don't do that. But we like
I will.
We like ratings. They're cool. We haven't had it in a while. The next one would be 13, which is a lucky number. Yeah, so we
had a lot of fun here.
Yes, we get excited when we see ratings. We love them. Seeing our listener count go up, very cool. We're almost at 500, which is an awesome milestone.
That shit's fun.
Doesn't sound great to a lot of people, but 500 means a lot to me.
That sounds fucking awesome. Are you kidding?
Right?
I remember when it was 300.
Also, that we like speak for 2 hours every 2 weeks, and somehow 500 times that's been listened to. Crazy.
Hell yeah.
Not lying this time. The next episode is going to be
Outlander.
No, it's not going to fucking be Outlander.
You're right. Veronica Mars.
It's my birthday episode.
It is.
So
it's her birthday.
We're doing my fave. Veronica Mars.
That'll be a good one.
Her.
Get hyped for that if you like Veronica Mars.
Get hyped for my birthday. I'm turning 27.
Whoa, you're fucking old.
Shitty age. Isn't that an ugly number, 27? The fuck do you do?
I liked 27.
Why? What happened?
I don't know. Just level 27 sounded cool, and it was also the brand of an emo guy I used to like. So I was like, cool. Now I'm 31. So anyway, we're old and slowly dying. So at least like come rate us before we're in the ground.
In a pandemic.
Help us out. Yo, don't make it real, okay? So come leave suggestions. What do you want to hear us sort?
Yeah, maybe one day we'll actually get around to letting y'all have a poll.
Hell yeah, we got a lineup, but also we will stop
we
in
should
and like
stop making a lineup. We are too efficient, is what's going on here.
We're too efficient.
Yeah,
Hannah doesn't think so.
It is Friday night. This episode comes out on Tuesday. But to be fair, the show just ended tonight, so we are as on time as we can be.
Yeah, of course.
I'm so glad this episode wasn't an argument because I was gonna.
It could have been.
Tear Rachel
it could have been
apart.
A bloodbath.
I was not ready for it to do a last second episode that was an argument. Anyway.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you in 2 weeks for Lauren's birthday. Woohoo! Yeah. Have a wonderful day, afternoon, evening,
morning.
We love you.
Weekend. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to Sort of Brilliant. If our sorting choices inspired any rage or excitement, we'd love to hear from you. We're open to feedback, suggestions for characters to sort, and solid counter-arguments with citations.
Never forget your citations. You can find us hanging out on Twitter and Instagram at SOB_pod or shoot us an email at sortofbrilliant@gmail.com.
And since we're not above begging, please rate and subscribe to Sort of Brilliant on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you listen to podcasts. Please share our posts on social media. And if you're a Gryffindor, Maybe you'll inspire sorting fights among your own friend group.
The theme music is Hot Shot by Scott Holmes. Can't wait to sort with you again next time. Bye!